and welcome everyone to Amigos IAS. I am Adnan. In today's segment, we will be discussing a very important initiative that has been launched at the conclusion of the G20 summit. And in the G20 Leaders Summit, a new initiative was launched, which was India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. This topic will be helpful in General Studies paper to International Relations as well as for Political Science International Relations as well. So let us try to understand what this initiative is. As you can see the screen, the key negotiators are there in this picture. Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, Prime Minister Modi of India, and Joe Biden of USA, the President. And also, European Union is also a very important negotiator there. The picture of Ursula, the President of European Commission, is not there in this one. But let us try to understand what this particular economic corridor is. Let us focus on the essentials first, like what this economic corridor is about. As the keyword says, it is an economic corridor. That means trade is very important, connectivity is very important. And what does this connectivity project entails? It entails the construction of railway lines and also connecting the different ports, shipping routes. So the keywords are here, rail and shipping corridor. What it connects? India and also the Middle East, and from there to Europe. Of course, in India, we don't call Middle East as Middle East, we call it as West Asia. Middle East is a term which is used by the Western world, because for them the Middle East is in the middle of this map, okay, the Middle Eastern part. But for us it is the west part of Asia. So in our answers in main, we have to use the word West Asia, even though the deal is termed like this. So use the official term of the deal, but also always use the word West Asia in your answers. So which countries are key negotiators as a part of this economic corridor? There is India, there is UAE, there is European Union, we have Saudi Arabia also, and USA, France, Germany, and Italy also is there. So all these countries are basically key negotiators for this particular economic corridor agreement. Fine. So let us see what this agreement is about. Generally, G7 countries, the group of 7 countries, have an agenda to fund infrastructure projects across the world, especially in the low and middle income countries. Further, they have sanctioned certain amount of money to have this investment projects or infrastructure projects in various countries. So there is a program by the name Partnership for Global Infrastructure Investment. So this economic corridor is basically a part of this initiative of Group 7 nations. Okay, so let me read again. Partnership for Global Infrastructure Investment. It's a collaborative effort by the G7 for what? For funding the infrastructure projects in developing nations, low income countries, middle income countries. Fine, Asia, Africa, Latin American countries. Sorry, it is considered to be the bloc's counter to China's Belt and Road Initiative. As we know, China, when Xi Jinping comes to power, okay, he launches an ambitious project by various names. The names keep on changing, but we call it as BRI or sometimes OBOR, One Belt One Road, or Belt and Road Initiative, which is nothing but reviving the ancient maritime as well as land routes of China's trade. Fine. So that means China has, as of now, taken on board 155 plus countries for these connectivity trade projects, infrastructure projects, but they are facing trouble as of now because of many countries getting trapped in the debts, because they have to pay money to China for this infrastructure development, but China gives this at a high rates of interest for those countries. Those countries are not able to pay back the loans. As a result, they are in debts. So we call this as China's checkbook diplomacy or debt diplomacy. But as of now, China, of course, is facing certain economic stagnation and some other problems. Countries are facing debt problems also. So now it is a good time to give some kind of counter to China's Belt and Road Initiative by this corridor. That is one of the assumptions here. Fine. And if we talk about the economic corridor, the map, we will understand it much better. So it starts from India. It is, of course, the entire final details of this are not there, because in the deal what was mentioned was after 2 months we will be meeting again. These negotiators will meet again and they will chart out the detailed strategy of how to run this particular connectivity project. So as of now, the things are still being finalized. So basically from India's Mumbai Jawaharlal Nehru port, we can actually do the shipments for the trade, and from here the sea route is there, okay, and it is going towards Dubai, which is UAE, and from there to Saudi Arabia, and here we have to connect the railway lines, fine, and after that from Saudi Arabia it goes towards Jordan, and from there to Israel's Haifa port, okay, and from there again in Mediterranean Sea it will be going towards the Europe. That means, as you can see here, two important routes, sea routes as you can see with these dots, and then you have the rail routes as well. So sea route here whenever there is a sea, and from the land we have the railway lines have to be built here. So just this one map, and let us see another map for further clarification. Two types of corridors, the eastern corridor and the northern corridor. Eastern corridor means India should be connected with the Arabian Peninsula. Northern corridor means from the Arabian Peninsula to the Europe. So it means from India to Europe we are going via the West Asia, or what they call as Middle East. So as you can see here, Arabian Gulf is there, or peninsula is there. Even if it is, for example, Mumbai port, or it could be Gujarat port also. The Mundra port in Gujarat, for example, in Jamnagar it is there. Now what happens here is, the Jawaharlal Nehru port in Mumbai is already having lot of shipment and the traffic is very high. So maybe we can also do these shipments from Gujarat's port as well. So details will be chalked out later, because this Gujarat's port is very closer to the Arabian Sea as well. So any port, fine, whether it's Gujarat or Mumbai, from there the shipment will be going towards the sea, okay, shipping lanes, and from there it reaches the Dubai. And from Dubai it will go to Saudi Arabia through the railway lines, and from here towards Jordan, and then you have the Israel as well, fine. And then as you can see from Israel, this Mediterranean Sea is there, fine. So as you can see, the maps also clearly point out towards sea. This is particular pink one is Jordan, this one is Israel, okay, and from Israel the shipping will again go towards the port of Greece, okay. Greece is not mentioned here. So from Greece again it will go towards the other regions of Europe, whether it is France or Germany or any other European country. So this route is essential. Now this route actually, what is the geostrategic significance of this route? We need to understand one very important thing here. So for that I will be connecting you to another map here. Generally, as we know, in the western part of the world, if India has to do trade with the western part of the world, how the sea lanes are there? So let me tell you, basically what happens is, this is the actual route of trade. If I want to do trade with Russia, we have one big problem. India, even though is not a landlocked country, but in international trade, it almost seems like a landlocked nation. Why? Because if we talk about the western side of India, if we want to do trade with Russia, or if you want to do trade with Central Asia or Afghanistan, we will not be having the land access, because Pakistan denies us any kind of access. India has asked, even when it wants to ship wheat to Afghanistan or wanted to send some biscuits or any cookies to Afghanistan, Pakistan has outrightly denied India. So persistently from 1990s, India is asking Pakistan to provide us some access towards the Central Asia or Afghanistan. But Pakistan has categorically denied India any access. So what we have done, we have invested in Chabahar port in Iran. But let me tell you what is the problem here. In Iran, obviously there are a lot of issues. For example, USA has slapped sanctions on Iran, and Iran is not able to have the kind of investments it need to have. And even though we have built Chabahar port and from there we are accessing Afghanistan, as we know, Afghanistan also has some kind of problems as of now because of the political change. Now, Iran is facing sanctions, so private investors may not invest much in Iran if India wants to enhance its trade and investment from there. And from Afghanistan also, because of instability, we are facing problems. So we have to always explore alternate routes, alternate connectivity for reaching other parts of the world. So let me tell you, if you want to trade from Mumbai to St. Petersburg in Russia, the original route is like this. From Mumbai, it will go towards the Gulf of Aden, and from there it will go towards this Suez Canal. Red Sea is there, Suez Canal, very small shipping lane is there, and from Suez Canal, Mediterranean Sea, and then going towards the Northern Sea, and again coming back to Baltic Sea and St. Petersburg in Russia. What a big route. So what we have done, a new corridor came in, International North-South Transport Corridor. This North-South Transport Corridor has been envisioned many years ago, where Russia, Iran are the key partners. Pakistan, Turkmenistan are not there. Remaining Central Asian countries are there. What happens basically is, India will now be going towards Iran, and there is a Bandar Abbas port there. We will be using the shipping lanes and we will be dropping the shipment there. And from Iran towards this St. Petersburg, it goes towards this Caspian Sea, and again from Azerbaijan, Caspian Sea island, it will reach the Russian zones. So if you see the map here, This route of raid is quite easier after this international north-south transport corridor has been brought. But as I just told you, the problem is that Iran's issues, sanctions by USA against Iran, we cannot have that kind of trade access here. And you see, if we go by usual trade route, even if it is not Russia, if we have to go towards Europe, we have to always cross this Suez Canal here. It's a very long route. So why not, cut down this time? Time is very important, because if we cut down the time of shipment, it is going to help us. It will cut the costs also. Faster goods will be traveling, freight costs will be decreasing. As a result, this economic corridor is very important game changer for India. Fine. So because the reducing time for the trade will happen here. So if I come back to this previous map here, as you can see here, we are not going from the Gulf of Aden, or we are not going towards the Suez Canal. Directly we are establishing what? From Mumbai, it will go towards Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and from there to Israel, and then from there to Europe. So that means it will reduce the shipping time to 40%, it is being said. Good achievement. Fine, of course, it is still in the pipeline. We have to find out how it is going to happen in the future. But this is very important connectivity project. Another important advantage, let us see here. This project entails rail links. Good. Enhancing trade and manufacturing, because of increasing access and connectivity, more trade, good connectivity happens. Okay, encouraging investments. If more investments happen because of connectivity, more quality jobs will be there. Problems of unemployment also will be solved. Strengthening food security and supply chains. We have seen in the COVID times, supply chains were disrupted. Any war happens in any country, if Suez Canal is blocked, again the entire shipping routes will be blocked. So we need to make sure that the shipping lanes are secure and supply chains are restored. For example, recently I have done a video on Black Sea Grain Initiative, where we discussed about Ukraine having the 3 important ports. Chormonsk port is there. If I am pronouncing it wrong, please excuse me. And there is Odessa port also is there. These important ports are there in Ukraine, and from there the grains will go towards the African countries or Turkey. So we have to safeguard those important routes. So Russia actually promised them that they are going to give them the protection in that particular routes. They will not attack those ships, but now the deal has not been finalized. So what is the important point here is we need to make sure that the sea lanes, the trade lanes are secure and global supply chains are not disrupted, because if they are disrupted, health problems will be happening because of not having transfer of these medicines. Food shortages will happen, which is again dangerous. And next one is what? Infrastructure for growth. Because many countries are starved of investments. If this connectivity project happens, then we will be having more and more investments and development in the lower middle income nations. Advanced clean energy. This particular, if you have seen the speech of the European Commission President Ursula, you will be understanding. She was emphasizing the word called green energy. She was talking about the importance of green energy. Okay, and sustainable development also is a key word here, because this project wants to transfer energy, especially hydrogen, green hydrogen in the pipelines as well. So it's an important initiative for renewable energy here. Clean energy, technology, hydrogen pipelines, high-speed undersea data cables, optical fiber links to enhance this internet capacities. Digital fiber links, undersea cables also are going to be laid as a part of this economic corridor. And next one, undersea cables linking energy grids. We have to share the energy between different grids. Telecommunication lines to expand reliable access to electricity. That means energy needs also are an important component. And energy here is renewable energy is there. Internet, digital fiber network is there. All these are the programs which are envisioned as a part of this economic corridor initiative. And we have to wait and watch how the final details of this will be, chalked out by these countries. What are the advantages for India? As we just understood, a small recap, enhancing the trade aspect here, and also cutting down the time for the trade because the routes are now short. Next thing is what? India will be now getting more access to Arabian Peninsula here. And because of railway lines being laid in Arabian Peninsula, especially in Dubai and Saudi Arabia, the advantage is that this integration of these people will be happening there, countries will be happening there. India has at least around 8 million people living in West Asia. We also have to consider about their security also. So as USA also mentioned that this deal is important because it will cool down the tensions which are there in the Middle East, as we can see. So what the problem also is that we have to finalize the details about this. Second important point is for India, how it is important is because investments can be coming in India Of course, for that we need to do skill development. It's a good chance for India to improve its manufacturing capacities, because if you have the connectivity routes, if you have the entire process done, but if you don't have the capacity to do trade, what is the use then? So we have also a big challenge that we need to enhance our manufacturing capacities and also increase our trade with the other countries as well. And the other important aspect for India is, of course, because we don't get access to the shipping lanes so easily, thanks to Pakistan's complete reluctance to give India any kind of access towards going towards Afghanistan and Central Asia, and Iran being very volatile because of the sanctions, India is now getting opportunity to have an alternate route. So you will be able to mention these points in your mains answers. And if I talk about the geostrategic significance, rivalry with China. China is somewhat taken aback because of this initiative, because it's facing its own problems right now. Italy, which is a part of Belt and Road Initiative, has told that they would want to review whether they want to participate in this China's initiative or not. So that means, again, all is not lost for China also, because you should not forget, recently China has brokered a very important peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. That means China is a very important player in the Middle East. It has invested a lot of money there also. So we have to wait and watch how these things are going to pan out in the geopolitics of the West Asia. So let us hope all goes well, and India will utilize this great opportunity to increase investments and also enhance trade and connectivity with Middle East or West Asia as well as Europe. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, please post in the comments below. I will see you again in the next video. Thank you.